Hello everybody, Magnus here again, and today it's too acid or alkaline. pH will tell. Today we're going to talk about pH control, but before that, did you know that Carlsberg Pilsner was the place where the pH originated, or the concept of pH? If you didn't know it, I hope you know it now. Now, let's get on with the rest of it and the very interesting road to how to control pH. So, what are the essentials of a good pH control? Let's have a look at the incoming water, which has an elevated pH. You need to dose acid in order to reach the pH you want. After you dose the acid with a dosing pump, number 1 here on the picture, you have the key. The time it takes to mix the acid and the water completely to reach a constant or stable pH. When you reach that stable pH, then what you do is you measure the pH with a pH meter, number 2 here, and that pH value is conveyed to a control unit, which in turn controls the dosing pump. So if you have a correct time to mix the acid so it's constant, then you can get a good pH control and use the system to get a stable pH in the treated water. Now, let's have a look at a couple of different types of systems and acids to correct and control pH. So, let's have a look at what I've called a sump mixing. This is a more crude form of mixing acid and water for pH control. What we see here is the dosing of acid, which is done at the end of the steel pipe going down at the bottom of this reaction volume sealed off by a stainless steel container. Then, second part is the pH measuring volume. So from the reaction volume, it falls over to the volume where the pH meter is situated. So mixing is done in a short portion of the volume from the steel pipe, and then it falls over to the other section where the pH measurement is done. So let's get on to the next type of mixing vessel. So next mixer is a static mixer, and you see the picture on the right hand side here. You see the smaller pipe, and the dosing of the acid is done at the beginning of this pipe where you dose the acid. You see the white circle. Then the mixing of the acid is taking place at the section where the pipe is widened, so the speed of the water slows down. And during this slowdown of speed in the pipe, the water and acid will mix in order to get a stable pH when you measure it with the meter. So this is what I call a static mixer for pH. Now let's get on to the next one. So here we've come to the second type of mixer, and here on the right hand side you can see the mixer itself, and it's rather small compared to the other static mixer I showed you with the extended pipe, and actually it's quite a nice mixer to use. And you see the orange pipe, there you dose the acid, and in the main pipe the water that you need to dose the acid in will be coming. And you also see on the pictures here, the lower right hand picture, some baffles inside in order to make the mixing. So what happens when you mix, here you can see it mounted on a wall. You see the acid pipe coming from above, and then maybe, well, up to maybe 30 centimeters, half a meter, depending on flow, you will have a good mix of the acid and the water in order to measure the pH. So quite a neat system, not very big, maybe a little bit on the expensive side, but you need to decide on type of equipment, on what you need to do. But let's get on to the next interesting thing is, how does it look to control the pH using a sump mixer, the first one I showed, or the static mixer? Let's go on and have a look. So we have come to see how it works. Now on the top of the graph, seeing the blue dots, you have a pre-pH adjustment, which we did with the pump sump mixer, as I called it. You also see the little picture on the right hand side, the top right hand side of the graph. And then you see the orange line, which actually is the pH after using the static mixer. Basically it looks like a straight line, and it's an excellent type of pH control. So static mixer, orange line, and blue line is the sump mixer. Both are, you still, if you look at the pump sump mixer, it regulates down to pH 10, which was the set value here. For the static mixer, the set value was 8. And the drop in pH is actually when the pumps has started and stopped, and how pH is measured. But basically the sump mixer, it works very fine for, not too fine tuning of pH, but static mixer, very, very, very good working. So let's get on to using gas as an acid. Now that should be quite interesting. Now we've come to pH control using carbon dioxide, i.e. a gas. Now let's have a look at that. What you need is the gas vessel and also a condenser to take the liquid carbon dioxide and make a gas out of it. That is using a condenser. Next step is to have a gas flow regulator, which you can see on the picture coming up there with the copper type piping and flow meters. Then you need the dosing of gas and reactor vessel. And the dosing of gas is done at the lower part, at the floor. And here you can see it, I've circled it here. Here you have the dosing of gas, and then you see the vessel where the water and gas is mixed in order to get a stable pH before dosing and controlling the gas dosing to the flow. Now I won't show you how this pH control looks, because I showed that in the video with the process water from construction sites. So this is just to show you how a system using carbon dioxide as acid control would look like. Now that about does it for now. I hope you're not too tired, because I have one last slide and I won't even talk about acid dosing, pH control, mixing vessel, and so forth and so on. So before we say the last words, I will just show you some pictures from my beautiful island again. And this time it's some pictures from one of the great museums we have on this island. In this case, military museum. We have one for Air Force, one for Navy, one for Land Forces, and even a large collection of tanks dating back to 1930s up to 1980, 1990. So if you ever come to Gotland, we also, apart from everything else I told you about the island, have some excellent museums that you can have a look at to spend some time in. But enough about that. Now I will say thank you, and remember, water really rocks. Take good care. Have a good day or evening depending on when you're looking. Take care. Bye-bye.